The long-awaited dream of David now becomes reality. In this chapter, Solomon begins building the temple of the Lord, the central place of worship for all Israel, a symbol of God's presence, beauty, and covenant faithfulness, okay? So, the first part of this chapter covers the temple site and foundation. Solomon began to build the temple of the Lord in Jerusalem on Mount Moriah, where the Lord had appeared to his father David. Mount Moriah is the same place where Abraham offered Isaac. You can check that out now in Genesis 22. A sacred mountain of obedience and faith. The location ties together God's promise across generations. Construction begins in the 4th year of Solomon's reign, okay, during the second month. Okay, so God's plans are precise in time and place. The same mountain of faith becomes the mountain of worship. The second part of this chapter covers the dimensions and its structure, right? So the temple measurements, its length, it's about 60 cubits, which is like 90 feet or 27 meters, okay? The width, 20 cubits, which is 30 feet or 9 meters. The height, 120 cubits, which is 180 feet or 55 meters, okay? The portico, which is the entrance, was lined with pure gold. Inside, everything, the walls, beams, doors, was overlaid with fine gold and decorated with carvings of palm trees and chains. Precious stones were set into the walls to reflect light. Every detail reflected divine beauty. Gold for purity, carvings for life, and light for glory, okay? So the third part of this chapter covers the most holy place. The most holy place, Holy of Holies, measured 20 cubits square, was overlaid with 600 talents of fine gold, more than 20 tons. Inside stood 2 massive cherubim, made of olive wood and covered in gold. Each wing measures 5 cubits, which is 7.5 feet or 2.3 meters. Okay, so each wing measures 5 cubits, stretching across the entire inner room, touching each other in the walls. A veil of blue, purple, and crimson yarn hung. Sorry, let me say this again. A veil of blue, purple, and crimson yarn hung before the inner sanctuary, embroidered with cherubim. Okay, the imagery emphasizes God's holiness and majesty. The veil and cherubim mark the boundary between heaven and earth. Okay, the 4th part of this chapter covers the pillars, Jachin and Boaz. At the entrance stood 2 bronze pillars. Jachin, he'll establish Boaz and him his strength. Each pillar was 35 cubits tall, over 50 feet, okay, and crowned with ornate capitals decorated like lilies. These names summarize the temple's message. God establishes his people and their strength is in him. What are the key lessons from this chapter? The first one is God's plan are generational. Mount Moriah links Abraham, David, and Solomon. Obedience in one generation prepares blessing for the next. Okay, second lesson of the chapter is excellence honors God. Gold, jewels, and symmetry all testify that the Lord deserves our best. Third lesson, holiness is central. The inner sanctuary reminds us that God's presence is sacred, approached with reverence. Fourth lesson, strength and stability come from God. Jachin and Boaz reminds us that only God establishes and sustains what is built for his glory, okay? So in summary, the 2nd Chronicles chapter 3, Solomon begins building the temple on Mount Moriah, the mountain of faith, covered in gold and filled with beauty. It stands as a dwelling place for God's glory and a testimony that strength and establishment come only from him.